in a higher
category.
Yes. Therefore, if you don't raise the flag that there was a piracy attack yesterday, it will be difficult to sustain that argument. So we have also verified that many reported cases of piracy were not correct. Were not correct. There is an international conspiracy, and I've maintained that argument for long, and it has been proven. The second thing, piracy. Why is it that nearly all the reported cases of piracy has to do with oil-related products? Why is it has to do that? It has to do with only the fishery industry, or the vessels that are fishing in our territorial waters, etc., etc. So the question is, we have other non-oil cargo that comes into Nigeria on a daily basis or on a monthly basis or weekly. Why are they not attacked? So, you know, the subsidy wahala. We have argued that some of those who have been benefiting, may have been benefiting from subsidy, may have been involved in some of these piracy connected crimes and the rest of them. Really? And they, yeah, they may have been involved, because why is it that it is only petroleum products, vessels that are carrying petroleum products, that are attacked? And all other vessels, generally we are talking about the general statistics, and it becomes questionable.
Isn't that the more lucrative ones to attack?
I am not sure, because sometimes some may want to say their vessel was attacked, the vessel will now resurface some other time to come and claim subsidy for a vessel that sometimes didn't bring products.
Okay, so they fabricate some of these
stories
to come and claim money.
Those claims, many of them, we have investigated, are lies. So when you hear of, oh, Nigeria is second to Somalia or is at par with Somalia, it's not correct. Nigeria is not a failed state.
When you make those kind of investigations and you finally get to the root of the matter, do you also let the insurance companies know?
Yes, we communicate with. There are ways we interact. There are ways we send our messages out. In the first place, a vessel, if a vessel is coming into our territorial waters, you must inform us that so time I'm coming to Nigeria. You don't inform us. We don't know. There are no records that you've paid necessary statutory levies. All what we hear is that your vessel has been attacked. How? No record that it has come into our territory. In NPA, you go, you will not see records. In NIMASA, no information, nothing. You only hear that that vessel was attacked. What were you doing in our territory?
What's the normal procedure?
The normal procedure, before you come into this country, you must get the regulatory authorities, particularly NPA, NIMASA, that you are coming. 7 days, 14 days, I'm going to arrive the shores of Nigeria for specific reasons. Then we are in attunement with the fact that you are coming. Therefore, necessary security, surveillance, and the rest of them has to be done. We need to know, the customs need to know what and what you are carrying. So you don't just enter into a sovereign country without information, and the next thing we hear is that your vessel has been attacked. So it has to do with some level of connivance.
That's for vessels that are coming in, right? I mean,
and even for vessels that will go out, you have to
because
know.
you were talking about, you know, vessels carrying petroleum products.
Yes.
We're talking about, I think specifically, if you're talking about vessels that are coming in carrying petroleum products, you're talking about vessels that are carrying refined.
Anything has to do with
petroleum products.
Petroleum products, crude, the AGOs, and the petrol itself.
They bring in crude to this country?
No, vessels that go out to possibly are also siphoning crude out of the country, or taking crude out of the country.
I don't think there's any way we can talk about piracy, you know, and your success in that particular area without mentioning oil theft, even if it's just at a cursory, you know, way. What would you say has been the major challenge in terms of checking oil theft for Nigeria?
I think the enforcement is going on fairly well. The area of challenge is mainly in prosecution. And we need to do something about how our laws, that is where we need the assistance of the judiciary, because when cases overstay in courts, and when people don't seek convictions, it doesn't deter others that may have been prevented from joining.
Are these some of the issues that will be highlighted in the World Maritime Day?
Yes, in the World Maritime Day, the focus is on, because in IMO, there are three cardinal things we talk about in terms of shipping: safety, security, and the management of the marine environment. So, in a day like this, it is important we talk about safety and security. It is also in our interest to dwell on the environmental issues, the ecosystem that is destroyed because of the international shipping activities and the local shipping activities. And worst is the pollution that is also occurring because of oil theft, destruction of pipes, etc., and the callous activities of the oil companies.
Okay, we'll still focus on that a little further, but let me just ask, I mean, in some of your previous interviews, you were quoted to have said you seem to be seeking prosecutory powers. That's part of the challenge in prosecution of oil theft. So if you at the end of the day, you stop at the judiciary, what would change if you have prosecutory powers? Or are you still seeking prosecutory powers?
Well, what we are doing, we are interfacing with the Office of the Attorney General, and there are arrangements to bring in lawyers from the Office of the Attorney General to help us to prosecute some of these maritime offenders. And I think that will go a long way in solving our problem. But that itself may not take the problem entirely out of the Nigerian situation. How fast do we get conviction? Because if a case stays in a court for 10 years, 15 years, if others are not seen, maybe after 1 week, 2 weeks, the person is, the suspect is being bailed, he walks about, he goes after, for another operation, he comes off and on just like that. So, but if it is in some countries where within some 1 year, some months, 2 years, you are seeing people getting convicted, it will accelerate development in that area.
Who takes charge? Oh, sorry, no, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Who takes charge? I was going to, sorry then, I was going to ask you, when you talked about the waters and you talked about safety and some other issues, you know, sometimes you try to sail maybe on our waters, and what you find are debris and sometimes sludge on the water. So I thought that that should also fall within the purview of NIMASA, isn't it?
Yes. Generally, in terms of marine pollution, pollution that arises because of shipping is within the purview of NIMASA.
Okay.
Yes. Last year, we were able to get 12 marine environmental laws gazetted that has given us the legal backing in the enforcement. Right now, we've started the enforcement. But that is not to tell you that it's going to be a small job. The challenge in cleaning up our environment is a very major problem, and it will be suicidal to underrate that job. But we have the will, and we're going to fight and ensure that the marine environment is clean and we live up to national and international requirements. Okay. But one of the things that needs to be done is education, enlightenment of our people. For instance, if somebody throws a can, a waste, into the river, if the person is sufficiently aware of the dangers that is being caused by that action, he is going to stop doing that. In some areas, people go and defecate in the rivers and rivers because there are no toilet systems. There are social problems, there are economic problems, etc. So, not just only enforcement that is going to solve the problem. So many, it should be followed from so many angles.
Yeah, I remember that particular instance, you know, when you talk about defecation in the waters, because some people believe that that's what fishes eat. It's very interesting that you say that that is actually pollution. But, you know, talking more seriously now about safety and you know, environment, recently it came to light, you know, there have been abandoned ships along the coast of Nigeria's waterways. And they have been asking, Is it that NIMASA doesn't want to clear the ships, or is it that it doesn't have the capacity to do so? What exactly has